Hi everyone, hope you're doing alright. As you guys know, if you watch my channel, I loved filet crochet. I would say out of all of the crochet techniques, that's the one that I use most frequently. And up until very recently, I stuck to either just doing a double crochet chain 1 filet crochet, or I would do a double crochet chain 2. And I mean, I know that I'm still fairly new to crochet, but I was actually shocked that I didn't come across the fact that there's so many other ways to filet crochet. So for today's video, I thought I would try out as many filet crochet techniques as possible and see which one is the best. I posted a TikTok a few weeks back where I asked you guys which is your favorite technique to use for filet crochet. I'm going to use some of the techniques that you guys have suggested, and I also want to look online and see if there are any other techniques that haven't been mentioned. My plan for this video is I'm going to create one project using each style of filet crochet, and then I'm going to put them all together at the end and rate them all based on a few categories. First off, I want to see how clear the image is, because some filet crochet is kind of harder to see than others. And then along with that, I also want to test out how square the filet crochet projects are, because in filet crochet there's a problem where sometimes you'll follow a pixel grid, and because of the height of the stitches versus the width of the stitches, your image kind of gets shortened. Obviously this can skew the pattern a little bit. And then on top of that, I also want to measure just like generally how long it takes for me to do each technique. And then based off of the ratings, we will see which technique I like the most. Before I get into actually trying the filet crochet techniques, I'm going to do a little bit of research and see which techniques I want to try. I'll look out for people's favorite techniques as well as kind of like common techniques that are used. So I am going to do that now. I've decided that I am going to trial out 5 techniques. Now, I could go crazy and do more, but I kind of want to keep things somewhat reasonable. I feel like just using my common sense, some filet crochet techniques I'm just not going to use. Like, just for the sake of this video, I'm not going to do filet crochet with double, triple just because I want to. There are 5 techniques that I want to try. The first 2 are a double crochet chain 1 and a double crochet chain 2. Now, I actually don't need to crochet those because I already have a bunch of pieces using that technique, and I'm very familiar with how those 2 techniques work, so I kind of don't need to worry about that too much. Apart from those 2, I would say the prominent techniques that I saw is using a triple crochet chain 2 and using a triple crochet chain 3. And then the 5th technique that I want to try is using an extended chain with a chain 2, which is one of the more popular kind of modifications that I've seen. It definitely seems like there are a lot of people that use that technique, so I definitely want to try out that one. I am going to go away and use those 3 techniques that I haven't, and then we'll kind of look at everything and observe the differences and all of that stuff. It's 2 days later and I finally finished the filet crochet projects that I've been working on. I do already have some opinions, but I'm gonna give everything a fair shot. This is the thing, because with the double crochet chain 1 and the double crochet chain 2, obviously all of the pieces that I already have been blocked. I want to block these pieces as well before I share my opinions. But before I do that, I thought I would show you guys what I made. If you guys remember a few weeks back in the video where I made as much decor for my apartment in a day, I made this lacy curtain. It's just been sitting in a drawer, so it doesn't look that great, and I am going to reblock this. I decided that I would do kind of like a top panel for this, and this is what it looks like. Now, this is the one that used an extended double crochet and a chain 2, and this is going to go on the top, and I will kind of attach it like this, which I think is going to be really cute. Obviously, once I've finished it, I'll show you guys what it looks like up. The second piece I did was using a triple crochet chain 2. I did this star, and this is following a pixel grid in my Y2K graphic packs, and this is from the second version. I sell these packs on my Etsy if you want to make your own, but this has turned out really cute. Again, this has been balled up, so it definitely needs a block. Originally, I was thinking that I was going to use this to decorate the wall in this room because I feel like this wall could do with a bunch of things on it, and I kind of want it to look quite busy. But I actually have a pair of cargo trousers which have this massive oil stain on, so I don't wear them anymore. I was low-key thinking that I could make a few more patches and appliques in this color and it would suit it a lot. Because I'm not going to use that piece on the wall anymore, I decided to make this K for Kuba, which is my boyfriend. This one was using the triple crochet chain 3 method. So my goal is I am going to block these and then we'll do a big comparison. Right, see you guys then. The results are in and I'm ready to share them with you guys, as well as some extra opinions. So first off, for visibility, obviously when it comes to how to make filet crochet more visible, you really want more contrast between the opaque parts of the filet crochet and the mesh stitches, and obviously the techniques that used larger mesh stitches would have more contrast. The triple crochet chain 3 had the highest visibility, followed by the triple crochet chain 2. Then we have the extended double crochet chain 2 and the double crochet chain 2, and then last is the double crochet chain 1. That one, as I say, is pretty self-explanatory. When it comes to the squareness of the filet crochet, or basically how much the stitch skews the pixel grid, I found that the triple crochet chain 2 worked the best for me, followed by the double crochet chain 1, which is quite proportional, and then the triple crochet chain 3, then followed by the extended double crochet chain 2, and then finally the double crochet chain 2. Now with this category, I would keep in mind that the width of your chain stitches and the height of your stitches is really going to affect this. And then finally, when it comes to the speed of doing things, obviously the quickest one to do was a double crochet chain 1, then a double crochet chain 2, and I found that a triple crochet chain 2 was actually a little bit quicker for me to do than the extended double crochet chain 2, but I feel like that had to do with the fact that I use triple crochets a lot more often than I do extended double crochets. And then finally, I have the triple crochet chain 3. So if I'm using these categories to rank them, a triple crochet chain 2, followed by a double crochet chain 1, then third I had a triple crochet chain 3, and then joint last place is a double crochet chain 2 and then an extended double crochet chain 2. So with these rankings, do I necessarily agree with them, as in the first placed is the best and the last two are the worst? Not really. I personally love a double crochet chain 2 filet crochet, but obviously that one kind of does skew your image. But I still use it quite a lot because with some projects you just don't necessarily need kind of the proportions of the pixel grid to transfer to your piece. But I will say that the triple crochet chain 2 was definitely my favorite method overall, especially if I kind of get rid of the thought that it takes me a little bit longer to do. It just is a very clear image, and for me it's very proportional. But as I say, this is very much dependent on how you crochet. Like, you might find that that technique doesn't look good in the way that you kind of hold your tension. So now I've kind of talked about how my little experiment kind of went, I want to leave you with kind of my final thoughts. My opinion on all of this is, whilst there are going to be some filet crochet techniques that you kind of gravitate towards and certain ones that you don't. So for me, I don't really think that I would ever do a triple crochet chain 3 filet crochet. It is very much dependent on what you're doing as to which one will kind of work best, because obviously what you want out of your stitch is going to be different. If you have a big project to do that you don't want to spend too much time on and there's not an awful lot of detail that you have to get through, the double crochet chain 1 is actually going to work quite well because of its proportionality. And realistically, you don't need a high contrast because you don't have a lot of really fine detail that needs to be seen. But there are also going to be situations where there are a lot of details that you need to make really clear, so clarity is going to be very important. So in that case, you would want to pick a triple crochet chain 2. And as I've mentioned a lot, just because this one works best for me doesn't necessarily mean that's going to be the same for you. This is going to be one of those things that you're going to have to trial out by yourself and see which one you prefer. So what does this mean in the grand scheme of things? Well, maybe filet crochet techniques aren't better or worse than each other. Rather, they're better or worse at certain things, and if you want to get the most out of filet crochet, you really want to identify with your piece what is the important things. Is it the clarity of the image because there are a lot of details? Is it something that you need to keep really proportional because you're trying to make it look like something that would read kind of funky if it wasn't proportional? It's kind of thinking about those kind of things that's going to be able to help you pick the right technique to use. Right, that is going to be it from me today. I hope you found this video helpful. This is the first time of me kind of trialing out something like this, so if you guys found this helpful, please let me know. I am definitely going to experiment with triple crochet chain 2 filet crochet at some point, so definitely keep your eye out for that. And eventually, once I do something with the panels that I've made, I will show you guys. I'm thinking about doing a part 2 of creating decor for my flat, and I will probably use some of these pieces, so keep your eyes out for that. Make sure you like and comment on this video, and make sure you are subscribed. I sell crochet patterns, so if you're interested in looking at those, I leave them linked in the description below. Also, go ahead and check out my other social media platforms. Have a good rest of your day. I will see you next week. Bye, you guys.